Today you're going to hear from Cara. She is a tech VA and she specializes in automating our businesses, automating our sales funnels, and take notes. There is a ton of great stuff in here. Get in touch with her after if you've got any questions. Enjoy. I am here with Cara. Cara, hello. Good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. It's so good to see you as well. It's morning for you.
I know, bright and early, just wrapped up some classes. And so Friday is kind of like my biz day. I don't have Friday afternoon or evening classes. And so that's like more when I get the business wheels rolling. So I'm really excited to start my day out with sales funnels and you, of course. So could we get to know you a little bit more? Tell us a little bit about your amazing life story that has gone like this. And just a little bit about why you're interested in sales funnels and what you're up to.
Awesome. Yes, I would be happy to. And thank you. And what a great way to end your work week. Friday is like you focus, like it's not as teacher heavy. It's like admin and businessy stuff. That's great. I had a coaching practice for 10 years. I was based in Santa Monica. I say I'm from California, even though I lived in a few different states growing up, but lived in California the longest, Santa Monica. And then I was educated in New York, but raised mostly in Kentucky in the South. So I have those different versions of my personality from America. And then after having my health coaching practice, which I loved, working with clients in health and fitness and nutrition, I have my master's in holistic nutrition. I'm a certified nutritionist. So it's a big part of my life and who I love to serve.
Yeah.
I just decided to close up my shop and go abroad for 1 year. And I thought I would support myself just teaching English. So I did that. I got a job in a school in China, and it was a great year, and got certified, to teach ESL. And then basically after China, I really wanted to stay abroad. So I took another contract that took me to the Middle East. And I was actually, instead of teaching English, I was using my health, fitness, coaching, nutrition background. That was 2 years in Saudi Arabia. And then after that contract ended, I really wanted to stay abroad, but I didn't want to take a contract. Mm-hmm. So I was like, online teaching.
Ding, ding.
But it's kind of like, it's in the helping, teaching, world. Mm-hmm. And so there I was, January of 2019, beginning my online journey, teaching English abroad, Go Kid and iTutor and all the magic ears and everything. I didn't do VIP, but a lot of them.
Yeah, we were on board with those.
So this was really my first foray into working online. I mean, I had to learn the headphones and the computer, and we're doing different things, and people can, maybe poo-poo being a teacher or poo-poo being an online teacher. But you know what? You actually have to be able to do a lot of things at once well.
Yeah. And troubleshoot real quick.
Yes. So this was really a huge step for me. My there's the word again. Motivation wasn't to be an online teacher. My motivation was to continue teaching, but I wanted to work. I wanted to stay abroad. Mm-hmm. So there was the bridge. So I had to get over some, intimidation around using technology for the first time, because when I had my health coaching business, I just hired out for everything. And then I really was enjoying the teaching. I was getting really fast and getting good basically at being able to go through all the different software that we use. And then I ended up teaching without school as well. So I was making, using Canva, and I was starting to make presentations, and I was doing things that I'd never done. Even in school, I really never made a PowerPoint. I didn't do any of that stuff. So this was a huge turning point, that because I was motivated to live abroad and I loved teaching and coaching, the online world was a perfect fit. And that was a good, that also got me through the COVID year, 2020 and 2021, of when a lot of people were trying to figure it out. Work from home, work online, what are we doing kind of a thing. And I felt so grateful and fortunate that I was already
onboarded. Yeah.
Yeah. I had 9, 10 plus classes a day. I wasn't slowing down. But then what happened is, as we all know, the industry changed. And for some of us, like overnight, or not as much for me with iTutor, but for some people, it was literally overnight. For some of us, it was more like a 3 to 6 month trickle where the industry changed and we just didn't have customers anymore. We didn't have clients, we didn't have students. So enter the virtual assistant world. And then, I literally had an epiphany, Melissa, where I was like, I am not afraid of tech anymore. And so what I did was I got my certification as a virtual assistant. And then I did the tech virtual assistant one, took it to another level. And that's where we are with funnels. And really, if I could say anything to your audience, to any online teacher, you love teaching. I know what that feels like. You love connecting with your students. You love making new classes. You love all of that. And just know that you might not love funnels. And I fell in love with funnels. Like, I really love all the back end stuff. And learning it and getting past the uncomfortableness it's like, being in a gymnastics class and being able to finally do a cartwheel.
It's breakthrough. I mean, it's a moment of breakthrough where you're like, oh wait, I actually understand this now. And kind of figuring out
and as an adult.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Because a lot of adults will stop learning in a way. We'll kind of be like, well, this is what I do and this is what I don't do. So that's, I think, the biggest thing. I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I had a breakthrough in tech. And that's if you take nothing else away from today, take away that you too can break through if you have an overwhelm or intimidation or phobia, or if you're a Luddite. And you can figure these things out. And we could talk a little bit, we'll get into like the psychology of a funnel. What is it? But that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, I love it. Well, and you have a podcast, which I want people to check out. We'll link that below as well. But I have learned so much about you. So I just want to say, I see you. And I feel like I love that you're sharing so much of, your past and what has made you into the person that you are today. So thank you for being so open and sharing all of that. It's beautiful to see. But I want people to see that you are a real person who has made this move, made this, taken this journey really to being a tech BA and kind of figuring out what this looks like and how you can educate people, and this is where I want people to see, I have been in this like knee-deep muck for a little while and being like, all right, what is next? I'm not trying to be behind the screen all day, every day, like for X amount of hours. I need to scale. What does scaling look like? And then we get thrown all these vocabulary words like scale, passive income, sales funnels, automations, websites, email lists, boom, boom, boom. And I'm learning all of it, but it's a lot. It's a lot. So that's why I want to kind of start with sales funnels, because this is applicable on so many levels. So, being an outschool teacher, being a teacher on a platform of really any kind, you are trying to have some sort of sales funnel. Maybe it's a group class that gets kids into a higher paying one-on-one session, or the other way around. I know people who do it the other way around. They have one-on-ones and then they get them into a group class where they can make more during an hour. And so even at that kind of smaller level, which it's a big step, so we're applauding you from here, but even at that level, up to maybe a product funnel, maybe some sort of a digital product funnel. That's kind of where I am right now. I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. And then figuring out courses. Some people are ready to launch a course. What does that look like in terms of a sales funnel? So can we get some definitions, please? Can we understand a little bit of what a sales funnel is, purpose, and throw in that psychology if you don't mind, because I am going to be taking notes right now.
Perfect. Yes. So, and that you brought up such a great point. And I'm so glad you did. Semantics, terminology, right? That can really throw people off, because then we're not just talking, normal speak. It's almost like when maybe, I'm just going to use the medical field as an example, when someone speaks with like medical speak, and it goes over people's heads, and it's to do with their health maybe, or their loved ones. And so that's a frustrating situation. And in business, marketing has a language and technology has a language.
Talk to us a little bit about that funnel. What what is a funnel? Let's
Okay.
get some.
So what a funnel is, when you are, I'm going to keep this really tangible. When you, let's say, you know, everyone has been into a store. A store is a physical place. And inside that store has something to offer. It's a service or it's a product. And you're on the outside of that physical store. So imagine your store is a funnel, okay? So you have people walking by the funnel, right? Walking by the store. Right now, you need the funnel to essentially get the person to go into the store, go into the funnel. And that could be with an ad. We've all heard of like Facebook ads. Or you could say, hey, Melissa, you know what? I have this thing. It's called a funnel for, you know, nutrition coaching. I'm going to use that one. And so I give you the link to that funnel, and that's like an invitation to come into the store. So a funnel is, funnels can have different reasons and different purposes. So thinking about the store analogy, let's say you heard from a friend that they had great things in this store. So that was your invitation. And now you walked into the store, you walked into the funnel. And now you're on a screen, you're on a funnel. Well, the first thing at the top of that funnel is to simply say what it is that funnel or that store has to offer. Maybe that store sells pet food, right? And you have a pet. So like at the top of your funnel, hey, welcome, you know, we have 100% natural pet food. Right? And we specialize in dogs and cats. So right there, your customer, your person who walked in is either like, oh, I'm in the right place, or like, oh, this is not for me. That first thing out the gate is what you have, like a store, and who it's for. And that can just be, you know, 1 or 2 lines of copy, of copy. The word copy, when it's written, it just means the words that we read. Right, so that's marketing speak for the words we read when you see the copy, right? And right under that, you can have a video, which would really be like the version of you walk into a store and it's someone goes, oh, welcome, how are you? Come on in, right? It could be a receptionist at an office desk in a dentist office, or it could be the person in the pet store who's like, welcome, and if you have any questions, let me know, or we have a sale, or, you know, that kind of just a brief introduction. So I want you to think about funnels as a store and you going into that store, or for example, your potential student or your potential parent who would come into your store, come into your funnel. And right away, you want to let them know what it is you can teach them or solve a problem, and who it is you work with. Do you work with little ones? Do you work with middle-sized students, or do you work with the big students? So right away, you're inviting them in, you're letting them know who it is that you have this store for, this funnel for, and right away you're saying, this is either what I have to offer, or this is something I can solve for you. So well, that's a little bit of the psychology. So if you walk into a pet store and you have a dog and they have allergies and you need to fix, right? So now you need dog food and you need dog food that helps with allergies, right? So that's your sales funnel. So as you scroll down, a sales funnel isn't always a sale. And here's another thing. Funnels aren't always just buy now. Really, if you think about a sales funnel, you're scrolling through, right? We know they run long. We've all looked at them on our phones or a laptop or, you know, desktop. But essentially, if you walk into the store and you have a dog, you might not buy anything. But it's your impression, getting a little in psychology, it's your impression of what the store looks like. What do they offer? What's the customer service like? Did they ignore you? Did they answer your question? Right? Did they invite you back for something? So it's kind of like your impression and your experience in the store. That's what the sales funnel. Now, one of the biggest and most important things a sales funnel can ask for from you is your email. but you want to be giving something, right? So right away, kind of after that introduction, you're saying, all right, you're here, we're just going to use the dog analogy. You have a dog and you have a dog with allergies, and I want to give you an ebook. It's the top 5 tips for this kind of allergy. And it's going to help you. And here's even a testimonial of someone who has a dog, and they did these tips and it solved the problem. If you want this free thing, if you just leave your email, I'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the biggest reasons you have a funnel or a sales funnel, is to capture an email, right? Is to simply be given something for free, to learn something, to get something that's helpful in exchange for your email.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And so if people are working on getting products or courses out there, what do they need? Because, my mind is going, okay, website, video, opt-in, email list, capturing device, way to manage the email list, email copy, email swipes, like how am I going to manage all of this? So what would you say would be probably a first step? And then maybe give us a couple following steps after that. What is, a little bit further down the road, but what should they do first? What would be the first step there?
What's first? So I would say, depending upon someone's budget, most people want to watch their budget right in the beginning before they, can scale. Mm-hmm. So one of the first things is, once you've identified basically the problem you can solve, that's always what we need to focus on in any kind of business, how we can help someone, what's their problem and how we can help them. Once you've identified that, you want to come up with, it is incredibly helpful to come up with something to immediately give. And it shows not only your expertise, but it simply says, hey, I don't need anything from you or want anything. I just want to give you this. Now, obviously there's an exchange of email, but essentially that is one of the best things you can come up with. Maybe even it's a 3-part or 5-part email sequence, because most of us have email, and email, actually, a little insider tip, email and newsletters are making a total nostalgic comeback. So that's like word on the street in the tech industry right now, is the nostalgia of 15 years ago or whatever.
Tired of social media stuff. They're tired of getting yelled at on social media all day.
It's a way, because also another little tidbit in the industry, really hyper niching is the thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're a teacher and you teach kindergarten and you're able to focus on Spanish and English teaching, and you're able to help readers learn in English and Spanish in a 6-week like epic reading system that you have, like do you just niche down to really, you're helping the thing that the parent and the child needs. Wow. I want to make sure I stay on track with your question.
Yeah,
so
it's okay.
That is if you're thinking like, oh, so much, what do we do? The first thing I would say is, what's your email service? Do you have a service like a Active Campaign or a MailChimp? So you can do like old school style. You just have a free Gmail, mm-hmm. and it's like melissateaches@gmail.com, right? That's cool. Now, if you start to grow and get a little more professional, it's really helpful to have melissa@teaching.com, right? Mm-hmm. You want to, and I think it's around $7 a month for a professional. That's exactly. Yeah. Yep. And so then making sure, like, as old school as it sounds, what's your email? Like, what's your email situation? And start there, because you can basically repurpose your content, so you can write out exactly who you help, exactly what it is you can do for them. And then I would write out your copy. You can use an AI tool as well, but just a simple email, and you can do like a 3 or 5 series of email that's going to go out, that's going to go on a repeat. Now, if you don't have an automated system yet, you just manually need to keep track of that. We can talk about automations.
Yeah. Well, let's go there. So if people do have, if they have email, kind of, they're getting email under their belt, maybe they need to do a little bit of research, but after they've got email kind of set up and they're starting to collect email addresses and they're starting to get things automated, what do those automations look like? I mean, I don't want a robot running my business, but I also don't want to be there like micromanaging a post going out at 3:05 p.m. on the dot.
Right.
That's not something we need to be spending time doing.
Totally. So I would say if you're just at the base level of your business and you're doing it's manual, like it's your Gmail. You don't have like a MailChimp necessarily yet. Or even if you do have your MailChimp, you want to write some copy that is giving some kind of a free gift, is helping solve a specific niche down problem. And that copy could be very short. And you could put that on like a Google Doc, and you just write email 1, email 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 3 or 5. And then you can manually send those out, like after you capture someone's email from wherever, you're building that trust. Now, let's say you actually have a little bit of, leeway with your budget and you can automate. I would recommend, there are several different kinds of services, but what I specialize in is called a CRM. And that's a customer or a client relationship management tool or software where it has email, it has your course or membership, it has it has your website, it has everything in it. But it is an expense, and just like we have all these different business expenses, the one good thing is if you can afford to, if you can afford, I think it's around 100, and the one I use is 119 a month. And that could sound like a lot, or that could sound like nothing. Depends on everybody's budget. But if you can begin your business with that kind of structure and foundation, I highly recommend it. If you can, or when you get to that level, is to have a CRM, because then now you're taking your manual, email, Gmail, whatever emails into that system, and now you can start to automate those. And what you're doing is you're building trust. It's going back to the analogy, the person that goes in the store, they may not buy, but they might have had a good experience, and they might think, okay, if I need something. And that's the funnel too. I might not buy, but I went in and I liked it, but I left. But when you get into automation and you use this CRM tool, not to get too technical with the wording, there's something called a pipeline or a sales pipeline. And what you're doing is you're understanding where your customer is. Did they just walk by? Did they go in? Did they talk to someone? Did they just say, I'll come back? Did they leave? Did they come back a second time? Did they buy something this time? Right, so that's your sales pipeline. Where is your customer in the journey? And that's part of the automation, where you can actually see each person who entered your funnel and left an email, got on the email list, got the emails, maybe set up a discovery call, maybe booked something on your calendar, maybe got your free ebook gift, right? That's what's a sales pipeline or a sales journey.
Yeah, I love that. And to give people a little bit of an example, and I mentioned this to people, like I am on this journey. And so kind of what I wanted to have first was my opt-in, my freebie, what am I going to be giving away? And part of what I am really passionate about, and having that kind of phrase that guides you, what motivates you, is I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 kids and I homeschool. I need to be present at home. It is something that is valuable to me. It's important to me, but it also saves our family a lot of money in terms of like education and stuff. So that's like something in my mind of like, this is an investment that we're making. And so that is where I find my purpose of wanting to help people be more present in their home life, but also not waste their time and get paid pennies per hour. And so trying to do that, I want to help people do that. That's the problem I'm trying to solve. To do that, I found that being diversified and scaling your business is really important. However, I'm still a mom. I didn't get rid of those 4 kids and have, 2 years to build a whole business. No, life goes on. And so scaling in limited amounts of time is really important. So I made a freebie that talks about, how to scale and choosing some of those things that look palatable to you in terms of your teaching business and how you would scale. So I've made that freebie. I've found some different ways to capture emails from that using things like Koji, using my link tree, using my website, making sales. I made my first sale this weekend from my website, and someone found my website quicker than they found Teachers Pay Teachers or Koji, and they ended up paying more, and I got more of a commission, I should say, from that sale on my website. So it's making me think, okay, what am I going to eliminate from my funnel to make sure that I'm, maximizing profits and not just giving people all the options in the world, because confuse you lose, all these little phrases that we have. But know, like, trust. People have found me on YouTube, said, hey, I found your YouTube. Hey, I realize I do need to scale. Hey, I like this. I'm going to buy this guide that you created to help onboard my tutoring students. Thank you very much. And so there's these on the ground examples of basically what I'm doing. I know other people who are creating courses. And so they are hyper niched, and it's really cool to see how they're doing that. But I also think, gosh, we are just running ourselves ragged. I know I am. I'm really noodling how I can automate a lot of this, because I don't want to be behind a computer screen, yes, around my kids, but also, on a computer screen and not focused on other things. So talk to us a little bit more about what you do personally. And I would love for people to check out a discovery call with you or something like that, just to learn. For goodness sake, learn from this woman, because you have such a wealth of knowledge. And I think people should know that they can ask you, hey, can you help with this? Because they don't have to commit to the whole shebang. They can commit to the baby steps that they're able to take on at the moment. So order a la carte, baby. Let's go. So what can you help with in terms of that automation and the higher level stuff?
You use you didn't use the M word, but I was thinking the M word. That's your motivation. That's your motivation, is to know, I'm investing now. I want to scale. How do I do this so that I can continue this? So I love it. Budgets are a huge piece of growing. And investing in deciding that we're going to have a business is the first step in knowing we have those business expenses. So I don't want to scare people away and be like, 119 a month for what am I paying for if it's not even something I really understand? I want you to understand, you don't have to have a CRM, a customer relationship management software tool. You don't need it. You don't, because you have other tools. You have PayPal to invoice. You have Skynova to send an invoice. You have MailChimp to send an email. You have, right? You can have all these other services that are even free sometimes, right? To basically build your own CRM, but it's not everything in one, and you're not building the foundation of a building. And that is one thing I would suggest, because eventually you have to get there. So if at all possible, looking at your budget to say, can I just start with a CRM? Can I budget that for the year with a CRM? And what you have within the CRM, the customer relationship management tool, is your emails, is all literally, it's every piece of your business. Now, since it's your, if Melissa, you got the software, the CRM software, it's your account. I log into it. So I never have ownership. It's yours always. So let's say I build it for you and then you want to manage it. That's okay. And I don't manage it because it's still it's your account, your software. So how I can help, my prices are a certain thing for a business who has a budget, but I totally am all about helping, not hindering. And so I want your audience to know, if they have questions or they have a different budget, we can still start with other things and do more a la carte, and I can help you, as you mentioned. And for you right now, having let's say you decide, okay, I'm going to have a CRM, I'm going to bite the bullet on this, and I help you migrate things, or maybe you want to migrate, but either way, we get everything into your CRM. Or the other thing is, if you don't have a bunch of tools, if you don't have a bunch of subscriptions to migrate, then there's really not much of a migration. We just open your account, right? We just open your software account and we build from there. From there, then we just build your first funnel. So you can build your funnel, or I can build your funnel, or we can do a hybrid of building your funnel. You're building that trust, right? You've got the emails, let's say, and you're building a funnel. And the idea is you're building that trust and you're giving free things. And you're continuously, it is marketing and advertising. You're continuing to tell people about what's in your store, your funnel, and you're continuing to say, I have these free things in my email to give you. Now, you can turn it into something like on your calendar in your sales funnel into a discovery call like I have. You want to capture that email. You've given something free, but also you want to sell. And selling is a little bit down the road. So what we're doing is we're slowly building that trust, giving free things, maybe setting up a discovery call to ask more. And eventually the sales start to happen.
And that's making my wheels turn too, because I'm thinking, all right, could I add like an intermediate step in there, with a discovery call? I may not be, having a huge long-term relationship with this person, but I could show them kind of what one of my products could do for them, or check in, see if I can address any quick questions that they might have, that sort of thing. So that's a really cool thing. And I could see where it would apply to so many things that teachers who are looking to scale would do. So it's amazing.
And if I could say one quick thing about like just carrying off that conversation, what you said about discovery calls, if you're willing to do what's called a webinar, we've all heard of them or maybe done them. A webinar is just a really vast discovery call. Yeah, you're hitting a lot of people instead of one discovery call at a time or one sales call. Think about webinars, if that makes sense. Okay. And you can have that in your sales funnel. Okay. I'm the Untethered Minimalist. I have a website, I have a YouTube, I have an Instagram, and I have a podcast. My podcast is on Spotify. I talk a lot about nutrition and health and my journey. I also talk about tech and just like life coaching kind of stuff, and also my faith. And so all of those things are on my podcast. I love connecting with people on Instagram, and I post basically a daily vlog kind of life stuff on my YouTube, and then some tech tips. So, and I have, if you check out my own website or sales funnel, and you'll see that I have a little, like a milkshake link tree thing in my Instagram. You can book a discovery call there. I love connecting with people, ask me questions, and yeah, just get in my world and we can start a dialogue about, tech stuff and how I can help you. And don't be intimidated by the pricing on my sales funnel. It's not, no, I don't want to work with you. It's, this is what I have, and the clients I do work with that have budgets, but I definitely do a la carte as well. So
fantastic. Okay, I love it. Well, I'm excited to continue this journey and kind of figuring out what this looks like. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and just being such a bright light. Love learning from you. If you guys want to say thank you to Cara, please check out all those resources that she mentioned. I'll link them below, and you can check those out also in the description. Guys, have a fantastic day and happy teaching. And Cara, thank you so much.
It's just simply recognizing a term like funnel. Okay, well, what's a funnel? We think about a funnel, or like those like funnels that we used to eat, the like cookie cracker funnels, right? That's like a chip, right? A funnel. They're called funnels.
But for a chip? What do you mean?
It's like a chip. They're like little trumpets.
Sprinkles? Oh,
there's like a wide part and a skinny part, and go like a triangle.
Yes. No, you're right.
I think they're called funnels, right?
No.
It's like a salty chip in America. I know what guys.
I know you're right. I know what you're talking about. It's
not Funyuns.
No, not Funyuns. Oh my gosh.
But it's like a funnel. But anyway, okay, we're gonna be googling chips. No, but essentially, you can edit that.
By the way, they are bugles. Bugles are those funnel shaped.
Okay, bugles. What are they? I said funnels, but they are bugles. You're right. They have bugles.
It's a funnel shape. If you need to go Google this, people, go Google this. But okay.